Hello everyone and welcome back to another Smite God reveal. Yes, it's another one, or maybe the first, or maybe it's not even a God reveal because I haven't done one before and because it's not an actual God reveal. Okay then, so here's the story. I like Smite a lot, but I think there's not enough gods in the game so far, so I decided to make my own. And I don't know where to look, the camera or my screen. I'm just going to look at the screen. So I decided to make my own god because I felt like they were missing some mythologies and I wanted another mage just because I wanted to do a warrior, but I felt like this character who I've done lends himself to being a mage more. So without further ado, here is the god that I have made. If you would like to leave comments and feedback on it and we can kind of balance him a bit and change him to make sure things that aren't stupid, then sure, and I'll try to make him as balanced or explain my reasoning as much as possible. Hopefully this won't be too long, but anyways, without further ado, let's go look at Raijin, Storm God of Thunder and Lightning from the Japanese mythology, and I have no idea what game this is from. It did say when I downloaded the picture, but I honestly can't remember, but I just thought it was a good picture. So if anybody wants to do some artwork on, what they think Raijin would look like in this game, feel free to do that and send it to me. It would be awesome if we can put together like an actual brief with concept art and things like that and send it off to Hi-Res to put into the game. That would just be incredible. Anyways, I think he looks pretty funky. So this is a storm god of thunder and lightning from the Japanese mythology. As I said, he's basically he basically calls storms with his drums. He's got these drums that are around him. This is kind of his signature thing. He's got all these drums around him. They're not like some weird fashion. They are actually drums. And he also has a pet called Raijin, I think. Raijin or Raiju? No, it's Raiju. Okay, yeah, I remember now. It's Raiju. So he also has a pet called Raiju that he created, and he kind of works in cool ways, and his mythology is quite cool, and I won't go into it right now, and I haven't actually written very much about it. So this is kind of his background. It's only 2 lines. If somebody wants to do an actual write-up that sounds cool and give it to me, then sure, you can do that and I'll put it in, but I wanted to get down to straight designing the god instead of focusing on his backstory too much. So if anybody wants to write the backstory of him and send that to me in a comment or something, feel free. I'll add it to this if I think it's suitable. And I've designed this guy as, let me just put this up, a magical melee mage. The only current magical melee mage is, or magical melee, melee magical, whatever. The only current character like this in the game currently is Freya. And that's it. That's just Freya. That's it. So I felt like this guy would lend himself to be pretty cool, and I will have him. Whoa, that's a bit messed up. I will have him attacking with like drumsticks or something like that. That he uses a giant kind of paddle that he uses to hit his drums. I think that'll be kind of cool. So first off, let's get into his abilities. His passive is Raiju, the Lightning Wolf. It's a pet type, so it's not going to be, it's not going to be exactly like Chang'e, which is just like, oh, follows her everywhere, gives her something and you can use as a courier. No, this is like a pet that buffs. But it also works with his abilities, and that's what I like most about this god that I've created, is that his passive, it can be very powerful, but it also can be even more powerful if you use him properly and use your abilities to the best of their their power. And let's just go over it. So created by Raijin, Raiju is his ever loyal if somewhat troublesome companion. He follows Raijin everywhere he goes, granting him physical protection and striking out at enemies who try to harm his master. Effect number 1 gives Raijin plus 15 physical and magical protection when near his master. So with this, straight off the bat, you probably don't need to buy any protection items. So you don't need protection boots, for example, maybe. And for effect number 2, for every 200 health lost, Raiju lashes out aimlessly, dealing 50 pure damage to any god within 10 feet if he is present. And that is key. If he is there, if he is present. So this isn't exactly overpowered. I think for every 250 HP, that's what, 200 health for 1,000 health. So every 1,000 health, he deals like a fifth back within an area. If it's a ranged god that's doing it, then it's obviously going to do nothing. So I don't think that's imbalanced at all. It'll be very handy for close team fights, but whatever, and gives Raijin plus 15 physical and magical protection when near his master. That's also key, like when near his master. So right off the bat, he's got protection. It's nice. It's a good thing to have. We want him to be slightly tanky. His mages die like far too easily, so giving him this protection is nice. It means they might have to always buy penetration items or something like that. So having this, I think, is good. It's not overpowered because if we look later on, don't look down. I'm having like it is slightly leveled up because I don't want my webcam to get in the way of the text like it is down here. Well down here. So yeah, I'm going to have everything slightly up so you'll be able to read ahead if you want. I don't recommend, but you can if you want. So let me just explain the rest of the abilities and show you how they work with his passive. So ability 1, Lightning Beast. This is his Lightning Beast obviously is Raijin. It's a single target / line, so straight in front, like let's say Neef's arrow weave or something like that that just goes pew straight in front. Oops. So Raijin dashes out in a straight line in front of Raijin, dealing damage to all enemy minions in his path. If Raijin hits an enemy he god, wow, that's a typo. An enemy god, he slumbers in their navel, which is their belly button for those of you that don't know, and deals damage over 5 seconds. He also grants vision of that god whilst he sleeps within them. Raijin must recall Raijin before using this ability again. So it doesn't matter if it's off cooldown, he needs to recall him before he can use it again. Wow, this is kind of funking up quite hard. I need to say Raijin is purged upon entering the, what's it called, temple, I guess. So yeah, when they go back to their temple, I can't remember what it's called. I want to say fountain, but that's a Dota term. When they go back to their home where they can heal, Raijin was purged, and he just goes back to his master that way. It's just easier and a bit more balanced. So it does 60, 105, 150, 195, 240 plus 40% magical power as damage. And this is basically like Alquang's Squall, but it can go in a straight line, and if it hits a god, it does that damage over time instead of just straight up buff. Why I did that, I felt like over time it would be more suitable to his lore because he sleeps in navels. He doesn't go boff and then I wake up and go, "Boah, I've just been, what's this?" He kind of slides in there. So that's what I want to get across. It's not kind of like a smash and everybody dies, but I also wanted it to be a wave clear kind of thing. So it does all that damage to minions. So this will be good for clearing a wave. Let's just leave it at that. They go, wave's done. Hopefully anyway, early game, if you max this first, the wave will be gone quite easily. So this is on a cooldown of 10 seconds, and like I said, this is one of what I love about this. It's just got so much utility. You can clear a wave of it, and then if you look back up, why I think his passive isn't so powerful is because he's slumbering within that god. His passive just goes. So if you use this, it hits a god, then that god has been like infested, I guess, with Raijin, and that means you have no physical and magical protection, and you don't get the damage back. You don't get like the counter, I guess, for every 250 health lost. So you use this, hits a god, you lose your passive. You use it again, and you recall him. Obviously, he comes back, and then you get your passive again. So I think that's a pretty cool kind of concept. I have a vision of him just going like as a lightning streak out in a straight line, and just kind of going whoosh, into someone's belly button. That would just be so funny. I like this ability a lot, and I think it can be used to great effect, especially like because he grants them vision. It's like, wow, that combo with an ethol is just crazy. You've got vision, you know where they are at all times. You can just use it if you want to get the enemy jungler, and you've always got vision on that jungler, but you have no wave clear. So it's kind of a toss-up of what you want. It's got great utility. You can use it one way or the other. It's however you want to use it. His second ability is Drum of Storms, so I wanted to utilize his drums a bit because they are the main feature of him. They've got this big circle of drums behind him. This is kind of one of my favorite things I've kind of thought about him, is that it's a nuke and a heal. And let me just take a drink because, wow. I've been talking for a long time, and I've done this twice, so yeah. What I like about ability 2 anyway is it is a nuke and a heal. So Raijin bangs his drums with tremendous fervor, creating a lightning storm around him. The storm lasts for 6 seconds, randomly hitting any target within 15 feet every 0.6 seconds, dealing damage to enemy units and healing friendlies for half the damage amount. If Raiju is slumbering inside a god, another storm is summoned at that location only, so it won't follow him, and will recall Raiju. I forgot to add that it'll just kind of, the first strike will always hit Raiju and deal damage to that god, which is like 15, whatever that is. So think Chuck and hit that range, but with random strikes. So what I love about this is it's a very kind of RNG random kind of thing. It hits everyone. It doesn't matter if it's enemy, friendly, or what. It just hits everyone. If you're in the middle of a team fight with minions and you use this, it's like, what are you going to do? It's very random. You've got 6 seconds and 10 strikes of where is it going to heal? Is it going to do damage? Is it even going to hit the enemy gods if there's only gods and minions in the, the range? It's like, wow, how do you use this? And if you focus on one god, if you have one god within range, then all of them will hit that god. So, excuse me, I need to edit that out. So it can be very overpowered in some situations, like if it's just you and a god like near you, you can just say, oh, I'm just going to press 2, cast it, and then just follow that god, and then suddenly you've done like 10 times 75 damage to that one god. But then again, if they have minions and you're following them, it would be like kapoo, 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 or whatever. And Raiju always counts, so even if you are following one enemy god, you still count, so it can also be a heal, which is kind of a cool thing. So if it's just you within the range, then obviously they're all going to hit you and heal him. If it's you and a god, some of them might hit you, some of them might hit the enemy god and do damage, some heals. It's a kind of, I really love this thing. You never know what's going to happen, and if it's done right, it can be incredibly overpowered, incredibly underpowered, or frustrating for whoever. And it's on a 15-second cooldown. It could be longer, I'm not sure, because it's just a very risky thing. I guess this is a guy of chance. This is a god of chance. It's quite cool. So if you think this needs balancing in any way, then yeah, let me know. But if Raiju is kind of slumbering inside a god, then he'll be recalled because that's kind of his lore. He has to smack Raiju in the face with a lightning bolt or fire arrow or something like that in his mythology to get him out of people's navels, which is, I kind of wanted to work into it. So if you've cast ability 1, and they are really low, if they're like at 75 health or lower, you can instantly kill them with Drum of Storms, because the first hit will always hit them, unless there's, well, actually no, yeah, the first hit will always hit them, and then the rest will just be random, and it will recall Raiju. But yeah, I really like this. I think this is really cool. I think it'll be a really good mechanic that can be implemented. So give feedback on this as well. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. And let's get to his last abilities. I don't like this being like that, so let me just do this. Okay, so his ability 3 is called Thunderous Drums. Has a area stun around him, so think of Apollo's Serenade. So, where he got boof, and it's an area around him and he stuns. So Raijin bangs his drums, shaking the earth and deafening any god within 10 feet, knocking back and stunning them for a short time. So it does no damage. Let me just get that right away. No damage whatsoever. I wanted it to be a buff, and I thought, maybe not, maybe, whatever. But I just decided on a stun because he probably needs it. It's 2 second stun at max level, 1 second at minimum level, goes up by 2.25 every level. So you might just be good maxing this last, just because, it's only a stun. If you go in with a team fight, you can stun everyone for up to 2 seconds, and it can be really overpowered, but it knocks them back, so maybe other area of effects won't kind of... Yeah, it's a very kind of unique thing. I kind of like it, and it could be overpowered, but it could not. If they're all together in one spot and you stun them, they're going to be knocked back. So let's say Al Kwangstong can't hit them all. It'll only hit maybe 1 or 2 because they've been knocked back in a circular area. It's on a large cooldown of 20 seconds because I think having the chance to stun everyone is a bit overpowered, so it's got a large cooldown, and the knockback is diminishing with the with distance from Raijin. So if you're far away, then you won't get you'll get stuns, but you won't get knocked back very much. If you're right next to him, then poof, you're flying. And onto his ultimate ability. Because he is a mage, he's got a huge ass nuke that can probably be used, you know, it could probably do with a little bit of a nerf at the moment because I've got it to be really powerful, but let's just get onto it. It's called Arrow of Storms. Raijin focuses a storm into an arrow of pure lightning and fires it in a straight line, dealing damage to any god caught in its path. So what I mean by that is just pure straight line. I did wonder if it could just hit one god, say like Anna, if he just goes boop, 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 it hits, you know, one god or whatever's in front of him, and that's that. But I thought, nah, most other mages have area things. It just goes whoosh, like Ao Kuang, it just goes whoosh, dealing damage to everyone in that path. So it's a very skill shot kind of thing. If Naiju is currently slumbering in a god, the arrow will home in on that god no matter where they are and do additional damage to that specific god. So it'll still go through gods, but it won't kind of just go in a straight line. It'll go and then where, you know, to wherever Raiju is. It's a really cool ability. It's like a Neath ult that you need to combo. You can't just say, oh, I have vision, woof, but you can say, I've won that guy, if he's backed off, we still have vision, Neath, Kapew, stun, and then you can go, well, I'll use my Arrow of Storms now, and Kapew, that's basically a dead god. But it's 2 ultimates and an ability to kill one god. Is it worth it? It means that it's down for 70 seconds. It's a very good balance, if you ask me. But it's still very powerful, so let's look at the damage. It's not as good as Ao Kuang's ult. Ao Kuang does 100 more damage per level, but Ao Kuang doesn't have the slumber damage, so, and he also has 80% of magical power. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, and 700 damage per level you put into this, plus 70% of magical power. And then if you have Raiju, you've got plus 50, 75, 100, 150, plus 20% magical power damage added on top of that to that god. So it's a very, very heavy nuke, and it can be global if you've comboed it right. And of course, when you use that, it will recall Raiju. Let me do that. Whilst, nope, and recall Raiju. There we go. So how is this god balanced? Because he seems very overpowered in some areas. Well, if you want to home in on someone, you can't have your 1. Like, if Raiju is being used, if your 1 is being used, then you can't use it again. You can't deal that extra damage on a shortish cooldown. You have to recall him before you can do it. But if you don't do it, then you can do extra damage with your 4 and your 2. It's a very... it's a very high-end tier character, I think, but he'll be very fun to play, and I think he'll look really cool. So if you like what I've done with this guy, let me just scroll back up to his picture. If you like what I've done with this guy, then give me some feedback, let me know, and if we can kind of craft him together, that'll be awesome. And if Hi-Rez put him in the game, that'll be even better. It'd be like, so good, I designed this god, yay. It would just be so cool to make a god and be like, this is what we've come up with, this is how we've polished him, this is how we've done him, we think it'll be balanced because of this, this, and this, and then Hi-Rez will go, yeah, okay. I don't think they will, but it'll just be a nice little exercise, and it will be fun. So let me know what you think, and thank you for watching, guys. Take care.